friends, how are you? It's Allie. What's going on? How you doing? Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling lots of energy? Where do you get your energy from? Is it from coffee? I thought we'd have a little controversial conversation because, there's nothing controversial going on these days. So I just thought I'd throw out coffee and see what happens. See if people are going to go run screaming for the hills when I say what I want to say about coffee. I guess I should say, first of all, that I'm not anti-coffee, even though I don't drink. I'm not anti-coffee, and I'm not saying that you have to be anti-coffee either. However, or not either, that you don't have to be anti-coffee. But if you have issues with your gut, if you have issues with your thyroid, you may want to reconsider that cuppa because it's not doing you any service. It's not serving you. People usually like to have coffee because they need the energy. Here's my energy drink of choice. It's water. Love it. But that's just me. Doesn't have to be you. Actually, yes it does. Water is the best source of energy. And then coconut water. But usually people, this is what's so funny. And I was just visiting with friends and family last week, and the same thing kept coming up. Whereas we would talk about how they were doing, and they're struggling with this, and they're tired, and feeling dehydrated, and all of these things, holding on to weight. And I'm not making fun of them. This is just a common thing. If this resonates with you, all of the different things that plague us. We're busy. We're getting older. There's stuff, right? And so when I start asking questions about, so do you drink water? Oh, yes, all day. Well, okay, tell me. How? People always think that they drink water all day. And that's usually not the case, or it's not usually as much as they think, which is kind of funny. And when they said, I drink water with my meal. Okay, well, what do you do first thing? Well, I have a cup of coffee. Oh, you have a cup of coffee, do ya? You have a cup of coffee on an empty stomach, do ya? Here's why this is a problem. Because coffee is a stimulant. You know this because this is why people drink coffee. It's a stimulant. But when you have a compromised gut, or if you have a compromised thyroid, let's say you have an underactive thyroid or even overactive thyroid, what the coffee is doing, so your thyroid here in your neck, like a little butterfly in your neck, is a messenger control center, and it's sending messages. And things like when you're stressed, it's going to affect your thyroid, and what coffee does is creates a stress response in your body, because it's activating hormones that give you energy. The epinephrine, it's the cortisol, blood pressure. It's helping you to have lots of energy, which is why people like it. And for some people, they can have a cup of coffee in the morning and they'll last all day long. And that could be good or bad, depending on who you are or what your issues are. But here's the thing. What I recommend to most people is, if you want the coffee, hold off on it. If you have to have it, if you absolutely have to have it, don't have it first thing. Don't have it on an empty stomach. Have your meal, have a glass of water first, then have your meal, then have your coffee. Mid-morning or with lunch, that's a better time to have your coffee. Now, if you have a compromised thyroid, you're just gonna make things worse by drinking the coffee. And you're like, no, I need the coffee. But I'm telling you, it's not gonna solve the problem. It's just gonna make it worse, because you are activating all of these hormones, and there's a direct communication between your thyroid and your gut. And you're just telling it all to get stimulated. Now you're thinking, well, if I have an underactive thyroid, that's probably a good thing. Wrong. The reason why it's underactive is because it's not communicating. It's not going to give it a jolt. You're going to get an energy jolt, but it's not going to be the right kind, and it's actually going to make your body overwork, work harder, and it's actually going to compromise this even more. So you don't want to do that. We want things working properly. You want things working well, and I get it. You want energy. Water first. If you absolutely feel like, oh my God, I can't not have coffee. My day is just too crazy. I need a little stimulus. What I would recommend is maybe some green tea, because it's alkaline in the body rather than acidic. So when it's acidic, coffee can be acidic in your gut, which if you have a compromised gut, which I argue if you have a compromised thyroid, you do have a compromised gut, because they are constantly communicating with each other, and your brain. So it's like it's a little axis here. Your brain, your pituitary, your thyroid, and your gut. All are talking to each other all the time. And so if you're creating acidic conditions in your gut, the communications are going to sort of break down. It's sort of like a game of telephone where, yeah, everybody is communicating, the messages are being sent, but eventually it breaks down and it doesn't make any sense. And that's what's happening in your body when glands stop working properly. The signals may be sent, but they're not being communicated properly. There's a link in the chain that is broken, or it's just misunderstanding. Is this making sense? Does this make sense to you? If I can get a like or a heart, or tell me what's up for you when I talk about coffee or potentially taking it away. What does that do for you? Does it freak you out? Does it give you fear? Coffee in itself is not a bad thing. It's not, there's plenty of good reasons it can help you focus. It does give you energy. It can improve your mood and concentration. There are antioxidants. There's a disease prevention component to coffee. So I'm not anti-coffee, but what I'm telling you is, if you are one of the people if you are struggling with a compromised gut, you might be thinking, okay, well, how do I know if I have a compromised gut? Because coffee helps me poop. Well, you shouldn't need coffee to help you poop. Who I'm talking to is the people who have a compromised gut. And so you know that your gut is compromised it's not just if you have diarrhea or constipation, but sometimes if you're holding on to extra weight, if you are having trouble concentrating, if you are having fatigue, muscle pain, all of that and more, skin issues, all of that can be traced all the way back to your gut. Which is why that's often a place where I start with my clients, is the gut. We have to do gut healing. If you have gut issues, if you have thyroid issues, I'm telling you that you do not want to create more stress on your body, because you're going to make things overwork. You're going to have continued poor quality sleep. It's going to congest your lymphatic system. Things are not going to perform optimally when you're adding this extra stress, because that's what coffee does when you're in a compromised state. Does this make sense? You really don't want to have your body be in a prolonged state of stress, because that's dysfunctional, right? So we have the coffee to get the energy, but when you're already compromised, it actually is going to keep you in that stressed out place, and that's not what's supposed to happen. And I don't mean jitters, but I mean on the inside. If everything is stressed out, that's setting up conditions for disease to occur. So some of my favorite coffee substitutes would be green tea, if you can tolerate that, or mushrooms. Like a mushroom tea, or there's Four Stigmatic is a brand that I like. They have a coffee. Got to get you healing first, right? Once the healing process is there, then we can add it back in, but never first thing in the morning. I'm sorry. All of you who start off your day with coffee, thyroid, gut, weight, concentration, all of that, save your coffee. Start out with water. Have a nice breakfast. Have your coffee a little bit later. The mushrooms, having a mushroom tea will give you that incredible focus. It's amazing. There's a brand I like called Om. Is amazing. And you'd think like, oh, mushrooms, that can't be tasty. It's really, really flavorful and delicious. And the energy that you get from it is just astounding. It just clears up your mind, and probably the same effects that you get from coffee, but you don't realize it because you haven't tried it yet. So I'm just here to flip your thinking when it comes to coffee. I know it's like the holy grail and people think, oh God, I just can't get rid of it. But I want to invite you to consider that if you're not feeling great, If things are not 100%, if you have issues with your thyroid, if you have issues with your stomach, your gut, your weight, consider either removing the coffee altogether or just moving it until later and starting with something else. And I bet you will start to see a difference. And it shouldn't be the thing that helps you poop, because then that means there's other things going on. There's other things wrong that we need to clean up. So I hope this is helpful. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Comment below, because I want to hear what you have to say. And definitely private message me if there is something going on that you need to talk to. I do have a really awesome group that's starting next week for women. This is for women only, but for women who are stuck in their weight, because there's always something that they hadn't thought of. Because again, we hear all the time, you can have up to 4 cups of coffee a day and that's good for you. And that might be true, but it might not be good for you. And everything, we have to look at everything through the lens of your own personal, unique physiology. Your bio-individuality is what makes the difference between one person and another. There is no one size fits all. I don't believe in that. We don't deal in that. So this is for you if you've been having some trouble. Consider ditching the coffee. I'm sorry, but it'll work. It'll work. Hope this is helpful. Give me a like, comment below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.